And all right, we're back. It's the AGFFA report, week 6 recap, week 7 preview. Maybe also a political podcast. We just had a long discussion about Trump and Biden and the upcoming election. I'm here with 5 total owners in the league. So I don't know, we might get more this time.
That's almost 50%.
Yeah, we're almost there. We got Dan, you just heard.
Hi, y'all.
I see Gumby on.
Howdy.
Jeff, of course. And Ross to finish it out.
Hey there.
So let's do a quick just take on how everyone's feeling after week 6. Gumby, you're undefeated. Are you you're obviously on top of the world. Do you think you're going to repeat what Rick and Ramones did last year?
Hey, it's just 1 week at a time, man. I'm only looking 1 week ahead at a time because I don't know if you've ever watched it, but on the preview stuff, I've never been favored. Not in a single game have I been favored this year. At no point. So I'm not resting on any laurels. I'm not just saying, yep, I got it. It's all good. None of that, because this league's too tough for that nonsense.
Yeah, I haven't looked at who you're playing this week, but is it the same thing? You're not favored again?
I am not favored again. I am playing Texas Savages, and I am a 6-point dog.
Wow.
But the lineups aren't totally set yet, are they?
I think at this point they probably are for a lot of teams.
So I'm not trying to set a record for wins in a row or anything. I just want to win the whole thing. And if that means I lose a few on the way, whatever.
Get to the end goal, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Ross? You stumbled first time this week, or past week.
Yeah, it was a weird fantasy week. I mean, I don't think not just for my team, but there were just a lot of low scoring impact players, or players that typically would be impact players, and it kind of sucked because you had heavy hitters like Gumby and Whip that didn't even, even after all the king making, they didn't even do that much, and there was games to be had. Like I knew I was going to struggle. I had some bye week issues. I didn't expect to win, but it was a winnable game for sure.
Yeah, Gumby, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I was just like, thank God I have a chance, because I just didn't get everything I needed in the first set of games. But
there was a lot of bad quarterback play in the NFL this past week, and I think that's what Ross was alluding to there. What caused all that weirdness is that Aaron Rodgers got me 9 points, 130 something yards and 2 interceptions. That's ridiculous.
That should be a loss for you, but
yes.
Yeah.
I had mentioned that scoring seemed to be down, and bye weeks and all that kind of stuff certainly had a play in it, but it just seemed unusually low this past week.
Yeah, I know Shook stumbled. He didn't have a.
Yeah.
We knew he lost his quarterback, but
he made that big move to
break 100.
Asmus only scored 69 points. I thought that was funny.
I crushed his ass.
You sold too early, Jeff. That was the win you were looking for. You could have went on a huge winning streak now.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. So another thing, the trade deadline passed, and I was kind of surprised. I realized I didn't really do my part to keep advertising it and pushing it like 1 hour before, 2 hours before. But there weren't really any other moves that I saw that were made.
Yeah, it felt like it had all happened at that point.
Yeah. Mike Barnes, he asked me for some moves.
I think Mike advertised for either selling or buying, but it was after the deadline. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday this week.
Yeah, he was talking about Kenyon Drake and something else. I don't know.
The deadline was actually yesterday at noon.
Oh, okay.
I actually threw it out there because I lost to Gumby. I was thinking of selling Mahomes and Kelsey again. But he was like, well, the best I've got is a 3rd round. Is that enough? I'm like, hell no, that's not enough. I wasn't gonna sell Kelsey for a 3rd round to Gumby. So he was trying to swing a deal with Jess and get her 2nd round or 1st round or something. It didn't work. So. But anyway, yeah, so all the teams are where they're at, and it's going to be interesting to see how it finishes out the year. Ross, you said king making. So we never really,
A hot topic.
we never really discussed too much more last week on the podcast. I know during the week there was that Facebook post, and it all centered around that trade I guess I made with Jess for Mahomes. Gumby, you kind of were a big part of the opposite side of that. So, like,
Well,
maybe now's the time. Maybe we have to just talk about it with these.
so
people.
with regards to that trade, I don't like the trade, but it's completely fair within the current rules. I would like for us to collectively, all of us, not just the people on this podcast here, but for all of us to figure out some way where we can eliminate the king making while maintaining some flexibility for owners to do trades. And that's going to take some
separate issues, though.
Yeah, it's going to take some real thought and some real smart folks coming together and figuring out what that should look like.
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer.
Your trade, Gus, is only part of it. It's not the the king making discussion was already on the table before your trade even happened. That's just like a subset, a specific type of trade that we need to address, but there's a bigger picture with the whole king making thing. As far as that, I mean, I think things that we can throw out is just eliminate the player to be named later, because there's too much ambiguity and it leads to things like what we've got right now.
I would say real quick to the player to be named later, I think there's two options. You either just get rid of it completely, or you make that little concession or addition to it where you just can't try to get back somebody like it looks like for Mahomes. It looks like a borrowing for a year, right?
Right.
I think just eliminate the possibility of naming a player later. Just eliminate it. Just say you can't do it.
So I agree with it, and since and I take responsibility for creating that type of trading instrument, and I'm sorry that it caused. Huh?
It's your fault. We blame you.
I mean,
Wait. It can't be Jeff's fault. You raised his ass. That's got to be your fault, Dan.
Yeah.
I raised his ass.
By the transitive properties of parent-child, yes. But no, I think there's. Let me put it this way. I think that trade, we can eliminate that trade, but I'm already starting to think about other trades that are equally dirty that could be applied in the league. So we can get rid of that one specific trade, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to come up with another one that's just as cheap down the road. And not because I want to or because I want to circumvent the rules, but if that's the only way that we can compete once you get to week 5 in the season, I got to do something. I got to figure out some way to do it. So I think the root cause here is the king making. If we get rid, like if that didn't exist, I would have never made the trade last year because Ross, you wouldn't have been able to get what's his name from the Raiders, Waller, Darren Waller from me, which I wanted him back as a keeper. And likewise, Gus wouldn't have tried to make the same trades with Jess. And Gumby, you wouldn't have made the trades to get the players you needed as well. But the bottom line is that we have to. I have to come up with a new way to get these players as cheaply as I can, even if that means the trades are kind of dirty. I don't want to do that. I really don't want to be a part of that. But it's the only way that we can compete now. So we get rid of that part of it, the kingmaker part of it, I think. And of course, if we want to get rid of the player to be named later and specifically call that one out and say it's gone, no problem. Sure thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But here the king making, everything else I think kind of falls in line. That's all.
Yeah. The you want to. Someone mentioned it in that big thread, but we need to get back to where we're rewarding the draft. People who make moves in the draft and make moves on the waiver wire, and not just there's no skill in just going and selling all your picks and getting all the best players. It takes all the fun out of what we aim for in the league. So
and Ross, you're right. And I want to bring up one point I don't think I talked about last week, but I had an owner that I talked with after all this was said and done, and what this owner said was, from now on, if we keep going with king making, I'm not going to do the draft anymore. I'm just going to auto draft, because the auto draft won't make any mistakes, and I should have a pretty decent team. And all I have to do then is sacrifice next year to get the rest of the pieces. So I don't really even have to draft, which is the worst scenario you could be in, right?
Yeah.
So,
which
I don't know how you eliminate that without taking away the ability to trade future picks.
I think we're not going to solve it here, but there's some ideas that will still allow for the trading of future picks, but maybe there's a timing issue there. Like,
Yeah.
like you can't trade future picks during the season. You can do it after the season, sure. You can do it before the season, sure. Or I'm sorry, you can do it after the season, but you can't do it during the season while it's going on. Then there's none of this anymore. I mean, the only trades you're going to make are for player, and I think that's kind of what we're leaning towards.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a sledgehammer approach too. That's saying that's gone, right? And that does change the dynamic of the league. So maybe there's other options about, picks you can trade and picks you can't trade, or number of picks you can trade.
I think that if you have if you pick somebody in the first round, you should not be allowed to trade them for a future draft pick.
Agreed.
Okay.
We already have the rule where,
that means, the three of the people you had wouldn't have been traded this year, Jeff. You wouldn't have been able to trade three of those people, and therefore you're not throwing top quarterback, top running back, top wide receiver to somebody and make somebody a champion.
You're right. But also you got to look and say, well, okay, so that means I can't trade the 16th overall pick, but I can trade the 17th overall pick.
Yeah, and the 17th could be looking better anyway.
well,
Yeah, I mean,
what
I had originally
I would
said
propose
first and second round is
is-
what I said, because those are non-keepable players,
yes.
So
And
you should.
we already have the rule that says first and second round aren't keepable. You just add to it and say you can't trade them.
okay, well, I think that's pretty
Because
reasonable.
that helps with the balance. Everyone has their top two picks throughout.
Right.
And in addition to that, we also want to make sure that everyone goes into the draft with those picks, or at least going up to the draft. Now, at the draft or right before the draft, you can trade down or do whatever, but everyone should be going into the draft with at least the same,
A minimum number.
yeah, which is, it should be a minimum number of picks, and then you have your first and second
I
round.
wanted that as the
That can
background
make
for
and
the
break your
podcast.
team, right?
It is.
So
You can't really.
I think that's something we ought to look at.
That's a pretty fair argument too. I like the idea of, just like you said, you can't keep a guy in the first or second round. You also can't trade your first and second round picks.
Yeah.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty good.
Can I just suggest something? Can you maybe still trade them for players? You do player swaps, or not swaps, but you're going to trade your player for another player. Like that could still be on the
It
table.
might be better to word it in such a way as to where you say you can only trade a keeper eligible player for picks of third round or lower, and you can't trade anybody else. You can't trade anybody else for picks.
You can only trade keeper eligible players for third round picks or later, no exceptions, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay.
So we're protecting first and second round picks every year going forward for every team.
Yeah.
And those are always good picks to have. You feel like you have some strength going into the year. And then I think what would be nice to add is a minimum number of picks you have to enter the draft with, something like that.
Something
You don't
enough
want
to fill a
someone selling
roster.
third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth round, and they don't have a team next year.
So the only downside I could see to that, just to play devil's advocate, is that there could be, of course, there's always a player or two every year that is drafted in the 11th round, and they could be like a stud player for the team, but they decide they're not competitive, like Terry McLaurin last year, right? Or this year, James Robinson. Now what you're saying basically is that it's easier for other teams to trade for those players because now they can't spend a first or second round pick. So now they maybe would be more willing to, like, teams would be more willing to make those moves to acquire those rare players that burst out of nowhere because it doesn't cost as much now. You can't get anything higher than a third. So maybe people would be more willing to do that now. So there could be that side of it. Does that make sense? You guys see where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying there.
it'll shift the price tag on trades, but I think that's, I don't know if that's necessarily a negative consequence of I think we just adjust accordingly.
Okay, can I be heard?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
a good
good.
point. I like the suggestion. I do.
Well, and that implementing that would require, because the way we do the trades and the way we do future trade picks, that would very much fall within our constitutional thing of rules that we vote on go into effect the next season. Because that
Right.
would give everybody a season to get their picks back.
Right.
Yeah, so next year, nothing would happen this year. And next year's draft would be everything, every trade that's made is still valid from this year. But starting next year, you can't do that anymore. So,
Right.
um,
That
yeah,
would
Well,
fit
we're
with-
saying
I would-
starting in the 2021 season.
Right.
yes.
Hey, I like the proposal. Yeah. Jeff, if
Need
you
to
want
write
to
it
write
up
it
and
up
flesh
and
it
throw
out.
it out there later, that'd be great.
Yeah. Write that up and flesh it out to where it's worded correctly and clearly.
So the idea is that typically when we make a change, it doesn't happen until the following year.
Right.
Correct.
What we're saying is we're going to make a change to the Constitution during this year, which will be effective starting next year, right?
Well, it's still prior to next season. Nothing changes this season.
Right, right. But it would be in effect starting next year.
Right.
Okay. All right.
I mean, this is just the five of us speaking. It would be thrown
Right.
out there in enough, talk with anybody else in the league.
Okay. Now, does what we've already thrown out there, is that in and of itself enough to combat kingmaking? Do we want to do baby steps? Is there more that to it than just that, or?
I think we'll still have a certain amount of that take place, but it wouldn't be for Christian McCaffrey so much anymore. It might be for like the next, maybe the third tier players, the flex positions.
Which seems
backups.
more in line with, I mean,
Well, if you try to compare us
not
to like
blockbuster
NFL,
deals.
right?
It's just incremental things to help your team as you move towards the playoff. It's not as make or break as what we're seeing.
If you compare us to NFL teams, right, which is kind of what we try to simulate a little bit, the Cowboys, I'm going to use the Cowboys as an example, right? Their offensive line is horrific. It's like a spaghetti strainer, right? Everything just goes right through it, right? It's horrible. But do you think they would trade an asset like any of their skill players, Zeke or Lamb or any of those guys, for offensive linemen at this point? Absolutely not, right? Because they know that's the future stuff. They're not going to do that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's the point, is that they don't look at this year and that's it. They're looking 2, 3, 5 years down the line, which I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the options that I was thinking about proposing was, why don't we go to creating a salary cap dynasty league out of the Alamo Goliad League? Now, I know this is probably not going to get enough support, but it's something to think about, because in that type of a league, you can't plan for just this year. You've got to look at your salary cap and the contracts you have on your players and determine, what's going to happen to me 2 years, 3 years down the road? And can I really make this move? Or is this going to cripple me? Like, I can make a kingmaker move this year, but my salary cap is shot for the next 2, 3 years. Am I willing to not be competitive for 3 years just for this one season? And it still allows it, but you better win it all, because otherwise you're going to suck for a while. And that's an option. However, again, I think it's fun. I think it's a great format to play in. I don't think it'll get the support, even though I think a lot of folks that are in that format do enjoy it very much. But nevertheless, it's an option. It's another option if we can't get there.
I agree. It won't get the support, especially in a 16-team league. You might only have half that would even be willing to, explore that. So I don't see that happening. But
it's radical. It is definitely radical.
Well, I think we beat that to death.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, speaking of 16 teams, I don't know if this is public knowledge, but I heard from an owner the other day that they're seriously considering dropping out. And I don't know, Jeff, is that worth bringing up publicly?
Oh, I think it's a general statement to everybody. If there's folks that listen, that are interested, or that kind of want to leave, yeah, I understand. I get it. We've had plenty of folks come and go through the league, and And, it's always sad to see them go. But we also have a lot of owners that leave and then later on want to come back. And, if you want to take lessons from the past and apply it here, we have owners that are still on a waiting list to rejoin our league that left before and they want to rejoin. So, just ask yourself, is this a 1-year thing where I'm just kind of, this thing has pissed me off and that's why I want to leave? Or is this, something that's been going on for a while and you're ready to just go? You don't want to make a snap decision. And I'm one of the owners that was pretty pissed off earlier this season. And I expressed it to our commissioner and basically I didn't, I let my emotions get the best of me. There's that whole thing where if you're not in control, you're out of control. Well, I was not in control of my emotions. And I regret that still. And I have to apologize, Gus, for putting that on you. But I came back from it because I recognize that this league it's more than just playing fantasy football to me. It's about staying in touch with the people that I've known for a long time and I care about. And yeah, it's fun and yeah, it's competitive. I think it's gotten a little too competitive in some ways, but that's okay. Some people enjoy that, and there's nothing wrong with that. My point in saying all this is that if you're thinking about leaving, first of all, recognize that if we don't come to you and beg you to stay, that's not an insult, okay? It just means that we've got people that do want to come back in. We don't want to see anybody leave, but if you do leave, we've got replacements, and that's why we're not going to say, well, what do we need to do to keep you here? We're not going to do that. That's just not going to happen. And also recognize that sometimes people leave and they do want to come back, and it's a lot harder to get back in once you've left once. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
The other part of this, if necessary, just for the continuity of the league, if we lose an owner, 2 owners, 3 owners, 4 owners, the league continues. We can still play with 12 people, and that's okay too. We can play with 14 people. We can play with 16. We can make it continue regardless of how many people are staying or leaving after this season.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, anyone who's thinking about it, like I heard from one owner, and it sounds like it's a for sure thing, but who knows? It could change. It could be like Jeff mentioned in his case. But please let me know as soon as you can. Don't leave us kind of guessing and wondering. And I know we have a whole off season, and you could always decide then. But the sooner the better. And obviously, like Jeff said, it'd be great if the continuity stays. But yeah. That's all I would ask, just for what I'm trying to do and make sure we have the league ready to go when it's time. So, I don't know if anyone wanted to add to that, but I was ready to move on to the other actual, like, this current season now. Let me go ahead and share my screen and.
Can I say something first?
Go for it.
Somebody took down the Mighty Shook this past week. Nobody said anything about it yet. I thought I would throw that out there just to make sure everybody understands that, although I projected myself to get 3, maybe 4 wins, I'm at, what am I at? 4. I'm at 4. I'm probably at my max at this point. But I did take down Shook, and I took down who was supposed to be the number 1 team starting out. That's you, puppies. And, don't overlook the Guzzlers, is all I'm trying to say. Got it?
Yeah, Dad, after last year and what you gave up going into this year, I could have sworn you'd be bottom 3 or 4 team, but look at you now. The current rankings, you're 7th.
Yeah. That brings up another point I want to ask about. How does the waiver wire order work?
It's based on reverse or inverse standings. So
okay, can you go to the waiver wire real quick?
Well, okay, I will. It's probably not going to be accurate for what you're probably looking for, but
I know what I want to point out.
Where's the waiver order?
I can pull it up.
I realize that it considers me the 3rd place team because I'm a division leader, and I guess it doesn't take into account records or anything like that. But I am. Where am I at on this thing?
Well, this is the current waiver order, but it's already run through waivers this week. So some people might not have used their spot and they moved up in the waiver order. At the beginning, after week 6, the waiver order is set where the first person is whichever team has the worst record and based on head-to-head losses, wins, whatever, points for, stuff like that. And then it goes all the way down.
Well, how was Ballzilla ahead of me?
Because I didn't use my waiver this week.
Yep.
You
I
didn't
picked-
use the
I-
waiver.
No, I picked somebody up, but I got him in free agency, not waiver wire.
Yep.
I picked up the AB.
But it's
Yeah, I
still
saw
makes
that.
You
sense.
asshole too. I saw that story, but I was in the middle of a work meeting.
He's going to get
Couldn't on
signed by
it.
the Seahawks. Can you imagine having AB from Wilson? That's like perfect.
Yes, I tried it like 6 o'clock last night. I had no shot. I don't know what I was thinking, but I got him at 6 on all the leagues. I was like, I'm gonna pick up AB. No, everybody picked him up by like 3:15 every day.
Yeah.
See,
Ridiculous.
I had a spot open on my roster too, because I've been keeping one open.
Oh, for
Sure.
AB?
No, I was actually keeping it open for like defenses and field goal kickers and stuff that I wanted to sub out around bye weeks.
Yeah.
But AB, it came up on ESPN yesterday that AB was looking at getting signed by the Seahawks, and I was like, oh, well, I could use that spot for that. That's cool.
You better hope he doesn't blow your team up. I would not let him in my locker room.
Well, we're under
could be a
COVID
new
restrictions
curse,
at
son.
Ballzilla, so he's isolated because of COVID, so he's not in with the other players right now. So it's all good.
I know. I say that even though, yeah, I tried to pick him up last night. So I'm just bitter. Not that it matters, but whatever.
Whose phone is ringing?
Mine.
That's a stupid computer. It picks shit up like that.
Oh. So yeah, power rankings, Ballzilla. I think you were one last week, right?
Yep.
You stayed on? Yeah, so very nice there. Good to see.
My goddamn computer.
Whip, after all his moves, he's looking like a strong number 2. I think Shook after the Dak injury. I know, Dad, you're bragging about that win, but he's pretty injured now, and I don't think he made as many moves as some of the other teams in this league. So he's probably going to start falling down, and Savages and Hookem could start moving in front of him. But credit to you, Dad. 7th place. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Trying to get this thing back. I don't know what happened here. The phone call screwed this shit up. I'm trying to get everything back on the screen.
So this is the midpoint of the season, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we just passed the midpoint. So,
Christ.
and yeah, top 8 teams will make the playoffs, although this is just the power ranking, but I think I'm in it currently as a 4 seed. And yeah, Ross, I think you're the 1 seed in whatchamacallit, in this conference, the Alamo conference.
Is that a Chihuahua? That's like a 3-pound dog, right?
Yeah.
I guess just so I can remember, the conferences, is it Rice and Smith on one side and Marino and Moon on the other? How's
It's
like
Smith
what's
and
your
Moon.
Afghan say back there?
It's Smith and Moon,
Smith and Moon. Okay. So
and
it's
then
left
Rice and
behind.
Marino.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. So right now, Ballzilla would have the 1 seed, Beer Guzzlers the 2, even though Whip has a better record than Beer Guzzlers right now. So
And then wild cards would be Bubba Gump and Ramones.
But you can click on the projected playoff bracket link and it'll show you all that right now.
yeah, it's never actually set up for like a conference. I don't think.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
I clicked it over on mine, and yeah, it's definitely not.
Yeah, it's all kind of weird. It takes the top 8 teams, which
Oh, it's got Jess at a number 8 seed right now.
yeah.
Wow, that's GMF material right there, man.
Yeah, her and Dad. I mean, y'all gave up so much last year and still competing. So
Yeah.
so yeah, you guys want to get into the picks?
Just a
Let's
minute.
do
I
it.
got to start this over.
Okay, yeah, you might want to just exit out and jump back in. I'm sure it'll work that way. Let me check this real quick. All right, so I did get our games last week and I recorded them. I know you left early, Jeff, and you did too, Gumby, but Jeff, you did terrible last week. You were 1-5. And your 1 win was Whip, which pretty much everybody got except for Ross, who picked himself. But Gumby, you did the best at 4-3. You jumped out at the last game. Your overall record's pretty good too. You're 17-6. So
Hey, did I pick Dan to win that game?
you did. Yeah.
Ha! I told you, Dan. I
And
knew
so
you
did
had that.
Ross. Ross did too.
I had confidence.
Ross is 7-6 overall. Jeff 21-17, and I'm 21-19. Dan is 23-17. So most wins, but not the best winning percentage. All right. So first game I've got is mine versus Scabs. I'm really glad now that I've gotten past you, Gumby, and it sucks I didn't win, but at least you took CEH off his team, so he's not that much better. I have a chance this week. I like my chance. I don't remember if he actually, I guess he still has Keenan Allen that could be thrown out there. So it would make it a much closer matchup if he replaced Humphreys. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say it. Like I'm banking every week now on Mahomes and Kelsey until their bye week. And so I got to hope for some 60, 70 point games that'll put me over the top on some teams. I might not need it this week, but the future weeks, like against Savages and probably you, Ross, those are when I'm going to really need it. Yeah, I'm going to pick myself. I know it didn't work last week, but I'm doing it.
I don't think there's any way you lose this game.
Really? Even after he fixes his lineup?
Even after he fixes his lineup. So one of his big scoring things in the past was Amari Cooper. But I don't know if you watched that Cowboys game. The Red Rocket has about a half second to throw the ball.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
And that offensive line is horrifically bad. Like the 1-15 season bad. It is awful.
Is it really bad?
Shocked. I would be shocked if the Cowboys can win very many more games.
Wasn't it just like 2 years ago you had the best O-line in the league?
Yeah, they're all injured or retired. Now it just has dropped out. It's nothing now. And so Amari Cooper, yeah, he's a good receiver, but he's never going to get the ball because Andy Dalton's going to be on his ass.
So his whole fifth player ranking, that's just all because of Dak the first.
That was with Dak. Yeah, that was with Dak with Dalton in there, and Dalton's not bad, but he's not going to be able to run around like Dak could. So Dak's a lot better in the pocket, moving around and even outside the pocket than Dalton could ever be. And with that offensive line being what it is, and no Dak, Cooper is not a good receiver now.
Well, he had 20, almost 21 points last week. Was it garbage time stuff or what? I didn't watch the entire. I turned it off.
He had 14. No, he had 20 against Arizona. That is a shocking number to me. It did not seem like that many. It must have been, garbage time started in the second quarter. So
yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think that if there's any direction that offense is going to go, it's got to be down. I mean, they're not going to get better than what they are with Andy Dalton in there. So I think Amari Cooper, you're right. That's a very generous projection, especially against Washington's defense, which is not horrible. They're not a bad defense. So I don't know, man. I'm going to pick Gus to win as well. I think his team is ready. It's poised for the long term. So I think he's got a good team. He'll win this one and go on his run to get to the playoffs.
And I hope so. You said Dynasty too, Gumby?
Yep.
What do you think, Ross?
What's the latest on McCaffrey? When's he gonna suit up?
Not this week.
Yeah.
Probably next week, or if they have a bye, it'll just be right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get one more week with Mike Davis, who last week wasn't his best week, but he still got me double-digit points. Yeah, 10, just barely. That was another reason I didn't win, because he didn't get a 20-point game again.
I had picked a dynasty in this one.
All right. What about you, Ross?
Yeah, I'm not impressed by his team outside of Deshaun. I mean, his running back situation is pretty dire. I'll take you, Gus, as much as it pains me to take a divisional opponent.
You're 2 games ahead. 3, actually, something like that. All right, that was a clean sweep. So, nice. Let's see. Next is the Shamers versus the Pups.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Jeff, if you want to, talk about yourself.
Yeah, my team sucks. And I basically, all right, so I made a couple of moves last week because I'm planning for next year, and I'm looking at the James Conner situation in Pittsburgh and his long-term future with the team. So I went out and acquired Benny Snell Jr. and Anthony McFarland, not because I think Connor's not going to be on the team. I know I've said before that I just don't trust him as a running back. When he plays, he's really good. There was a stat or an assessment of him last year that on a per snap basis for fantasy football purposes, when James Conner plays and finishes a game, he scores more points than Le'Veon Bell. And I think that's striking. The problem is, does he start and finish games? And that's the problem. Anyway, I'm thinking that he's not going to get his long-term contract from the Steelers. And so they're going to turn to Benny Snell, maybe Anthony McFarland. I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'll sneak in and have the running back for the Steelers starting next year. I don't know, as a keeper. So anyway, I thought that my team, just if I could put like the epilogue on my season, I thought that the reason why the fantasy gods hated me was because I drafted James Washington and then I cut him before the first week. And they said, well, if you're not going to root for your own team, we're going to smite you down. So I re-picked James Washington back up, just because I got to do something, right? So I was like, I got to get my karma right. I picked up James Washington. He had a really good game last week. But that's basically all he's doing is, you can see right there, I drafted him. 3 days later, cut his ass. That's just dumb, right? I mean, I totally screwed my karma up.
Did you start him last week?
I said, team is terrible. I'm embarrassed to say that I'm probably going to lose to the Shamers. But you know what? They deserve to win. Given how bad I'm doing this year and then basically saying I'm done, they should beat me. I'm still going to pick me to win, but it's going to be a close one. I'm going to predict that I win 144-80 in a close one.
Yeah, you are farcical. My comments and my notes on that game is that it's only 2 points. One, you surrendered the season. Number 2, you really don't have any starters. So I'm picking the Shamers.
Brutal.
Okay.
That's brutal, yes.
Any other takers for the pups or Gumby and Ross? Is this I can't believe I'm saying this looks so easy for the Shamers. Wow.
Yeah, it does. I got to go with Shamers.
I got to go with Shamers. I think the football guns are done with them.
All y'all suck.
Jeff, it's next year. It's always next year, right?
Always for me. Yeah, it's always next year.
Jeff is the Dallas Cowboys of fantasy football.
Oh, you mean I'm the Dallas Cowboys / Detroit Lions, right? Because the Lions and the Cowboys are basically the same team. And they have been for 20 years. But anyway.
Next game is Shook, who's on a 2-game losing streak versus Ramones. And I mean, it's a 16-point spread currently, but that's pretty high for Ramones for that kind of projection. And yeah, it looks like his best lineup's in probably, yeah, looks like basically the same for Shook as well. So
I think Shook gets a bounce back win.
yeah.
How questionable is Hunt and Evans?
It always feels like Evans is questionable every week.
Yeah.
I'll look and see what's going on with Hunt. He's fine. He's got a rib injury, but he's been putting. You can read it on your own, but odds are he's going to play. He'll be all right.
Did the Steelers basically? I mean, they shut him down last week, but there was no injuries during that game that you recall, right?
No.
Yeah.
Only to his pride.
Ooh, that was a good showing by the Steelers.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, they're for real.
I've got more to say to that when we finally get to old what's his name, the running back from Tennessee.
Tractor Cito.
Who?
Tractor Cito.
Tractor Cito, is that his nickname?
It's just on another podcast I listen to, they call him that.
Tractor Cito. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some things to say about that Steelers defense when we get there.
Man, I like the Ramones' chances. I mean, Russell Wilson's coming back. I like his team. It's actually, I'm just surprised the projection is that much better for Shook. I don't know. I think I am going to go ahead and take a chance with Ramones this week. I think Russell Wilson could come out with another big game and just blows Tom Brady out of the water in that matchup.
They're playing Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
taking
a division. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ramones. That's Russell Wilson against a division opponent that has a very bad defense.
Yeah.
That guy could score
That
70 points.
defense
It wouldn't
just
surprise
shut
me.
down the Cowboys.
That's not really a good. That's not really saying a lot.
It was Andy Dalton, Ross.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton in an offensive line that you or I could probably make.
The red pop gun. He's not even a rifle anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Ramones can do this.
What do you think, Jeff?
Give me Shook.
Dad, are you there?
Yeah, I am. I think it's going to be Shook too. I think
I lost you. You dropped out.
okay. Did
You
you hear
there?
me?
No, I now I can.
Okay. Well, I think Shook is going to be upset and pissed off because they lost 2 games, so they're pissed. I think they pulled this one out. Yeah, Russell Wilson is the main point on the Ramones team. I like the running backs better on Shook. I like the wide receivers better on Shook. I think Shook takes this one.
All right. All right. Let's see. Next one is Savages and Ballzilla. Just
Yeah,
like you said, Gumby.
I'm always an underdog.
Wow.
Always. I'm good with it.
This is the game of the week right here.
How's that the game of the week?
Well, I'm just
Right.
saying, like it's a high total. It's close. It's obviously
Two top
like
teams.
yeah.
You're undefeated.
I just need to get 20 points out of Aaron Rodgers and I'll be good.
Savages is like what, 4th in the power rankings, 3rd?
Yeah, something.
They're
Like
pretty high up there.
Yeah, 4th.
Their records at
Yeah, 3-3. They've had some unlucky losses this year.
How many points did Zeke get last week?
nothing. It's crap.
Well, you have him on your team in another league?
Yes.
Oh, last week, 10 points.
Wow.
That's a
That'll
bust.
have to
2 fumbles.
Put the rock on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see Zeke being much of anything anymore with that offensive line. There's no holes. There's nothing to run through. And they're always playing from behind because the defense sucks. So I think that what do they give him? 21.4 points projected. I think that is super generous.
Hard to argue.
Against the R words. This will be the telling week. If he doesn't do anything against them, then he's done.
Yeah, I agree.
They're still, what are they, tied for first in the division?
They are first in the division.
Are they really?
Yeah. Everybody else lost last week.
I mean, they still got to lean on them, though. Like, I could
They
see
gotta
them getting 20 points.
They're a half game ahead of Philadelphia in the division.
The winner of that division could be 4-12, I think, mathematically.
It's potentially true. They are all awful. But I think that 20 points for Zeke is super generous. And I don't think that Bell's going to cut into CEH's carries too much just yet for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I got Diggs against New York, the New Jersey Jets. I got Diggs against the Jets, which that's money.
Well, that
So I
might
feel pretty
mean
good
money
about
for
this.
Josh Allen, too, then. And that's who he
Could be.
has.
Could be.
Every pass to Diggs is +1 for Gumby.
Gumby. Okay, I'm looking at your flex. I think it comes down to this. You're rolling out AJ Green.
Yeah, look at his points last week.
I mean,
1 week.
yeah.
Week?
Look at his first 5 games.
Well, I watched him very carefully because I started him in most of those.
I mean,
I'm
it
not
looks
really
like your only
settled in
other
on
option
that.
is Rob Gronkowski, but
And Grunk's got the same problem as Green though, right? He's
Mhm.
like either really great or really awful.
He's only been great last week too. It's been
Same
pretty
thing, right? So it's the same thing. Green and Gronk are kind of the same thing there to me.
actually
Yeah, it
going
comes
up
back-
against Swift isn't too bad either. Like he had a blow up game last week too, but
But will it repeat?
right.
Don't know.
I'm going for you, Gumby. I'm picking Ballzilla. I like it if Savages loses one so I can get a better chance in the playoffs.
Well, I'm picking me. I always pick me.
And I predict a tie.
Sure.
You can.
No, I'm gonna go Gumby here. I'm gonna go Ballzilla. I think that the Zeke thing is, I think it's even worse than what you described, Gumby. I think Zeke there's something wrong, and I don't want to say it's all COVID, but there was a thing on Twitter showing Zeke on the sideline. I think it was after one of his fumbles, but the dude was heaving, like, I mean, I was like,
Yeah,
man,
it causes permanent lung damage in many people. And I think it's a combination of things too, right? So Dak Prescott is out, which means the passing game isn't as threatening as it was. So you can line more people up in the box. The offensive line is injured very, very badly. I don't think we've got a starter left on the offensive line. And the defense is horrible. So you're always playing from behind. So I just can't see Zeke being the fantasy football force that he usually is this season.
But they're
Why
playing
is-
against the Redskins.
Redskins got an okay defense. Jeff's running him out for his team this week.
that's mostly because they're
Who
playing.
is Jeff? The guy that surrendered this year.
They're still making
Think
crafty
Zeke gets
moves.
well this week.
I just don't think Zeke's going to be much of anything the rest of the season unless something drastically changes on that offensive line. He's not Barry Sanders. He can't do it without a line.
Can I help you?
Well, what do you think, Ross?
Give me Savages. Just because I'm voting for Gumby to get a loss.
And I'm gonna ditto that comment and say I'll take the Savages as well.
All right. Let's see.
Can't have no undefeateds.
Yeah,
Right.
I get that. M team versus Whip. Damn, Whip has the biggest projection so far, 161.
Whip.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, sorry, Gumby, or I'm sorry, Monty.
The
Been a
only
rough
question
season for
mark-
Monty.
The only question mark for Mike is Thomas. I understand he's got an injury now.
Yeah, that's true. But he's got some
But-
weapons he could back it up. Chark
Right.
or
Even
Drake, depending
without-
on who he
even
moves
without
wherever.
him- Even without him, that's lopsided as hell.
Yeah, no, I'd go Whip too. No question about it. Anyone want to take the chance with remote, or I'm sorry, M team?
No.
All right. Let's see. Next game is Napalm Jockstrap and Beer Guzzlers.
Oh, he hasn't set his lineup.
Yeah, what's going on there?
So he has Garoppolo on the bench. He'll throw him in. That's 32
Jimmy-
points.
Jimmy Guwap.
Yeah. Jimmy
He's got to
G,
get
and
another
then
running back.
he has Jalen Richard or Trenton Cannon.
Ugh.
Man, that's 16 team
That's-
roster if I've ever heard one.
That's pretty awful.
But it should give him enough points to make this an even matchup.
I don't think that's even. I
Guzzler's
don't think
gonna
that's
whoop
even-
his ass. Guzzler's gonna whoop that fucking ass. All right. Done.
You're starting Bell this week?
I got him up there, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now I am.
I love it, Dad. That's a great move.
He's partying like it's 2016 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, baby.
You've got so many Steelers or ex-Steelers on your team. You've got Claypool, Bell, Ben.
Claypool's my damn keeper, baby.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm taking Guzzlers.
I'll take the Guzzlers.
Guzzlers.
Really, no love for Rick.
Thank you for your support, gentlemen. And I'll see you next week, Ballzilla.
Yeah, I'll take Guzzlers too. I guess we're all going Guzzlers.
I don't know anything about your tight end though. Who is Richard Rodgers?
He's the guy filling in for Zach Ertz this week.
He'll be the
Oh,
starter.
okay.
Yeah, because Dallas Goddard and Zach Ertz are hurt there. So he's the starting tight end now.
Doesn't Goddard come back soon?
I don't know. He was pretty jacked up.
I thought he was out for like 4 weeks, but anyway.
That was like 4 weeks ago, though.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Let's go start.
All right. Hook'em versus Bubba Gump. And it looks like she hasn't really updated her lineup fully. I see she has Boston Scott, who should fill in for Miles Sanders this week.
Is that tonight?
Yeah, actually, that is tonight. Is your lineup basically fully set, Ross?
Yeah.
What happened to Robert Tonyan? Did he just have a bust game last week? Is that what it was?
Well, they were behind so far in
Yeah.
the start of the game. I mean, I don't. That was Aaron Rodgers didn't do shit that game, so it's hard to say.
Any Packers were jacked up last week.
Yeah,
They just got their ass kicked.
I don't know why he's questionable.
You have a backup tight end just in case? Oh, yeah, Cameron Brate. Ugh.
Yeah, Cameron Brayton, just hoping he gets you more than a dead guy.
Yeah.
Man, you're going to have a tough decision again with that quarterback. Herbert or Joe Burrow. Both have decent matchups this week.
Who's Joe Burrow playing? Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a tough decision. Bear looked pretty badass on Monday night.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville's nothing special.
I kind of see Bear as that might be your keeper quarterback forever, dude. That guy was a badass.
If he continues, yeah, it could be.
Who was your keeper again this year? Was it Cup?
Yeah, Cup and Eckler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Eckler. How was Eckler looking before he got hurt?
Good.
Really?
Yeah, click him.
Yeah, he had a
Real
31-point game at one point.
Yeah.
And then Vita Vea or whoever for Tampa Bay probably stomped on him. Almost killed him.
I'm gonna pick Hook'em to win, and I'm just gonna make this comment about the Tennessee-Pittsburgh matchup because we do need to at least talk about it briefly. But I talked with another owner the other day, and you can figure it out as we go through there. But they have Pittsburgh's defense, and this owner said, "I'm worried about starting Pittsburgh's defense because of Tennessee's offense." And I can't. His name escapes me. The running back for Tennessee,
Henry.
That's right, Henry. And I said, man, if I were you, I'd start Pittsburgh. And if I was starting Henry, I'd be worried about starting him against Pittsburgh's defense, not the Steelers, because we're legit, man. I mean, they destroy the running game, and then after that, we've got not one, but two shutdown cornerbacks in the secondary and a ball hawking safety. I mean, our defense is for real. So Tannehill, okay, good luck, man. This might get ugly. And I'm not really worried about Henry running all over us. And I just think that this could be a game where, you look at it and then say, yeah, of course they got their asses kicked. Pittsburgh's got the best defense in football this year. It's just the way it is. So that's my stance on that. If you're starting Henry, I wouldn't bench him, obviously, but I would not be expecting a whole lot out of his game. I guess that goes for touch me down.
Well, you can't bench him.
Right. I was just about to say the same thing.
You
There,
can't bet.
yeah, he's on that list of players that it doesn't matter what the matchup is. He's your starter.
No, sure.
I
I'm
mean-
not saying bench him, but don't expect a lot out of him.
Unless he was on like Mike's team where he has like 10 deep, roster of good starters. But yeah, I
right.
agree with you, Gumby. I'm picking Hookham here. I don't know. Is anyone willing to pick Jess? No,
Not
clean
this week.
sweep.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
All right, and looks like the last game is that one with Touch Me Down and Derrick Henry. Which, just so we double check, he does have Justin Jackson as an option. So, maybe.
I'm not expecting Henry to get, if he gets 20.4 points, he's going to get some garbage time out of that.
Yeah.
And that's
Man, I feel bad for
disrespectful
Asmus.
right there. Saying he's going to get 20 points, a disrespectful move against Pittsburgh. You cannot tell me he's going to get 20 points. Come on, man. That shit out of here.
Well, don't they play each other somewhat regularly? What did he do last time against the Steelers?
I think we did play them last year. I don't remember what he did, but I can look it up.
That's a former division opponent, not a current division opponent.
Yeah, I don't remember anything bad with Derrick Henry in the past, so against the Steelers. Wow.
Uh,
Ross, do you see who Asmus is starting for his running backs? He's starting both Gordon and Philip
Both
Lindsay.
guys.
Ooh.
That can't
Whoa.
be right. But yeah, I
Are
mean,
we
look
sure
at
that's
this
not the
team. He's-
Ramones? Are you sure that's not the Ramones?
I know. He's starting Tim Patrick too for Denver. This
Good
looks like the
grief.
Ramones like fake team. Thanks.
May as well start Drew Lock.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick Touch Me Down. I think his team turned a corner last week. I'm pretty sure he won, and pretty good doing it too. So
Yeah, I mean, I think Smuffs may not get another win this season.
yeah,
That's rough to see.
I'm going to play contrary on this one, and I'll tell you why.
okay.
Kyle Allen, quarterback. Of course, they're playing Dallas, but David Montgomery, I had him last year and they used him poorly. I know he's doing okay this year, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in them. And they're playing the Rams, so I don't expect much from that. Robert Woods, he could be all right, but they're playing the Bears. I don't know about that. Let's see. Who's the next one there? Who's that? Lashenka? No, fuck that. He's questionable anyway. I'm taking the Smuffs, baby.
That's one way to get ahead in the pick.
Well, it's like, he's got those two running backs in there and on the same team. If Denver, who are they playing? Who's Denver playing?
Kansas
KC.
City.
Holy fuck. Okay. He needs to swap out one of those running backs.
But for who? Carryon Johnson?
Oh, well, no. Who else does he have?
Dion Lewis?
Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Anyway, I'm still taking the Smuffs.
Just circle back. The last time Derrick Henry played the Steelers was in 2017. This is a November game. Derrick Henry had 7 carries for 32 yards with a long of 16, no catches, no touchdowns. And the Tennessee Titans got trounced 40-17.
Thank you.
A lot has happened in 3 years, though. That was Marcus Mariota led, and I think we probably had Shazier then back in 2017.
Yeah, we did.
So I don't know. The defense might have been similar enough, but I expect a trouncing this time around too for the Steelers against the Titans. So all right. Wait, I didn't get your pick, Jeff and Gumby.
I'm going to go with Touch Me Down because the Smuffs have decided to roll with the Cowboys defense, which is the most illogical move this week.
They're the last ranked defense.
That's the most illogical move in fantasy football this week.
They're averaging negative points. You'd be better not even playing them.
Well, he
I
never
rest my case.
the overall first round pick.
Negative points. That's bad.
I told you I was watching the football game a couple of weeks back with Tess, and she don't really watch football much. And I turned around and told her, I said, "This is the worst defense I've seen the Cowboys put on the field in my entire life." And the next 3 minutes later, CBS came up with a graphic that yes, it is actually the worst defense the Cowboys have had since 1960.
Averaging minus 1.7.
Their
Yeah,
best week was 7 points, and they got a touchdown that week. That's so bad.
Wow.
They've got take that away, and they're negative in that game too, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, you're right, because it's the fumble or interception, whatever it was, probably.
Well, he could with any defense. He could always swap. Doesn't he have another defense down there to pick?
He has the Vikings, but they're on bye. I don't know why he's saving them.
Yeah, there's that too.
Because they're playing Green Bay next and then Detroit.
oh my gosh, Asmus added the Cowboys yesterday to his roster.
Whoa.
What?
He's going for the number 1 overall pick. He's taking
going-
for
that's gotta be it. He's
Trevor.
like, what's the worst defense? Oh, okay, the Cowboys. I mean, they've scored in the negatives 4 out of 6 weeks and probably should have had 5 out of 6. This is terrible. Terrible. Good luck, Asmus. I'm going with touch me down.
I dropped the Lions defense. Maybe he'll pick them up.
That would be an upgrade.
Yeah, because
Anything would be an upgrade. The Cowboys are awful on defense.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
It's been a tough season to watch that team.
There's a lot of quit on the defensive side of the ball for Dallas.
There is, and I haven't missed any games. I've watched every snap, but oh my gosh, sometimes it's been tough to swallow.
It's not just
Yes.
Dallas, the Texans too. It's all the Texas teams. They look bad this year on defense.
And the Cowboys players talking about the coaches not knowing what they're doing and stuff. I want to know, at what point are they going to, look themselves in the mirror and say, wait a second, the coaches aren't out here trying to tackle people or not trying to tackle people. And also, I thought all the problems were like the defense was too simple. That's why we just sucked last year.
Yep.
Week.
Randy Gregory.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
starting, right? He's starting this week.
So with regards to the Cowboys defense, have you guys ever heard of a receiver named DeAndre Hopkins
Yes.
or Larry Fitzgerald? Do you know those guys?
Fitzy
I heard
and
of
DeAndre, yes.
Do you
heard
think
of
it would be wise to cover them with anybody? To put a
Well,
person
you
on
got
them?
Christian Kirk back there.
But yeah, how about that Christian Kirk guy, huh?
They didn't even cover those two on some plays. Nobody was even near them.
I honestly think they ought to take a look, and I know they're not going to do this, right? But if there's a culture issue there, and they've got the players on the defense pointing fingers at the coaches, honestly, they should just cut them. Because but they won't, because it's the same thing it's always been with Dallas. You're going to get your contract early, or you're going to be. Don't worry about it. You're going to be taken care of. Jerry Jones will take care of you. So they really have no fear of a coach. There's no repercussions.
That's been true since 1995.
This is what you're going to get. And honestly, if this happened in Pittsburgh, I would not be, or pick a team, right? If it happened to the Titans or the Patriots, or hell, even the Saints. The Saints sat one of their studs last week because Michael Thomas threw a punch at somebody.
Well,
they're not gonna
look at what the Steelers did, right? So 3 years ago, their number 1 and 2 offensive weapons was Bell and Brown, right?
Yeah.
Troublemakers, gone.
After it got control, yep.
And it didn't matter that those were the best players on the team. They were causing trouble and they were gone, and the team's doing just fine without them.
Well,
they took their hit for a year, and then they're back to normal.
Yeah,
I'd love for the Cowboys to be in that situation where you've got a long-time coach that's backed up by ownership, and the players fall in line or go.
I think the Jerry's getting old. I think that's the only thing is he cares so much about the people around him, the coaches, the players, and it's just unfortunate because that's great. No, you could still be close with your players, but also have a policy of look, this is the team you're on, right? If you want to be cut week 6 in the NFL season, good luck finding a job after you get cut. But otherwise, you go out and bust your ass every week. That's your job. If you got a complaint, you can keep it in house. Talk to your team captain. Talk to your position coach. Talk to me. That's fine. You start pointing fingers and causing fractures that get out there, man. They got to blow that up. They got to blow it up. And if they go into it next year with the same group, how's it gonna be any different? You run into some problems, and then you have the same complaints coming out. No.
It won't.
It's a shame. It
I'm
really is a shame.
I'm going to say this. I feel like Jerry Jones. I have a lead in a division that's pretty fucking weak right now. And he's tied for the lead. He's able to take over the lead after this week, maybe go on a 3-4 game winning streak and get in with a 6-10 record. And, I may get in with a 6-6 record, win the division, maybe. I feel like Jerry Jones, it's like manna from heaven that you're in that fucking division. That's what he said. So, Jerry, how you doing, buddy?
But if you're not legitimately going to compete for a championship, I mean, jeez, I don't know. I feel bad for Mike McCarthy too, frankly. I mean,
That's a bad situation.
He didn't know what he was stepping into.
What all the high hope and hype was when they hired him.
Yeah.
Guy with experience, he knows how to run a team and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I feel bad for him too. I don't know what's going on with that team, but they suck on offense. They suck on defense.
Did Steve ever quit on Garrett? Because I don't remember them quitting. Like, they played for him at least, right?
I don't think there was really any quit on Garrett. I mean, they were competitive most weeks.
It seems like they're quitting on McCarthy, though. Like, that defense is just not playing.
They're awful.
They're fundamentally bad, and
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, they're fundamentally bad, and they have some good players, which makes it really weird.
That's the thing.
They should try to pick up Earl Thomas.
Well, he said he wanted to go to the Cowboys in the offseason, but they couldn't get a deal done.
I mean, who cares if he sleeps with his brother or whatever? Like, just pick the guy up and let him go knock some heads off.
He's I think he's starting on his couch this week, so seems like the price will be pretty good.
What, Jeff? You didn't hear that story about Earl Thomas back in the offseason?
Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, that's a weird story, dude.
He was cheating on his wife or fiance or whatever, but he was having like orgies with his brother and other girls at the same time.
Devil's triangle with your bro.
You guys heard about the Odell Beckham's really a number 2 receiver, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Ugh.
Maybe he should go to Dallas too.
I feel bad for all the Cowboys fans. Gumby, I'm sorry. I know, and David, I know you're a Cowboys fan. When you listen to this, I'm sorry about that.
How can you feel bad for them, Jeff? They're like close to the lead in the division. Like, they're gonna be fine. If anything, you should feel bad for the Texans fans that are in this league.
We don't even have a coach.
Yeah, they fired the coach. They're 1-5. They've got Deshaun just like wasting out there. It's
okay.
Sucks for Houston.
We're gonna get the enemy. We'll be okay.
Is that the KC guy?
Yeah. I feel worse for the Cowboys fans because I don't see any hope. Like, I honestly don't see any hope there. At least with the Texans, the Texans are going to start over with a new head coach, and I think that they've got a team with some really good leadership on it as it is from the players' standpoint. I question what's going on with the Cowboys in the locker room. I would have thought that it had been, Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, that would be like, these are the leaders, right? Dak Prescott, he's the leader on offense, but there's something wrong there. There's something wrong with the team. And I don't know, I just feel worse for them because nothing's going to change. It's not going to change for the Cowboys.
The Texans are opposite in what y'all were saying earlier, and that organization does not put up with knuckleheads at all. I mean, like, there was the rumor of Earl Thomas coming to the Texans, and that got nipped in the bud right away. It's like, no, they keep their locker room pretty straight. It seems like, anyways, at least.
Yeah.
They
It
just
helps
need,
when they have a guy like JJ Watt there who, you know, he's kind of like the gatekeeper for all that kind of stuff, it seems like. For all
Yeah.
the shitty play that someone could exhibit on the field, and they're like, nope, not on this team.
And Watson.
Was
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy the running backs coach for Kansas City? Wasn't he a Steeler running back?
I'm in special teams.
I think he was with the Steelers. And I don't know if he started out coaching with the Steelers or with Andy Reid. I don't remember.
Let's see.
But they're talking about him being a head coach next year.
yeah, he's like
He's a
the
candidate.
he's the head candidate for like the open jobs right now. He's never been with the Steelers.
No.
He's the quarterback whisperer.
Well, that's what B.O.B. was, so that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was an egomaniac.
You guys, I
That's why I
feel
gotta
bad
get
for
out of
Bob.
here.
I feel bad for Bob. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I got to end this too. So thanks for being on, as always, and hopefully talk to you guys next week.
Thanks
All
for putting
right.
this together, guys.
All right,
Take care.
later,
everyone.
guys.
All right. Bye, y'all.
See y'all.
Bye.